Hey guys, wanted to come at you with a quick knife review and talk a little bit about one of my favorite folding knives. This is the Spyderco Delica 4. Wanted to do a quick review on this knife. There's several other reviews on YouTube you can visit that give a bunch of great information on it. But this is my favorite, absolute favorite folding knife. It's great for multiple of uses. But first, before we do anything, we're going to take a quick look at the knife. Talk a little bit about what some of those uses are. Okay, you can see the Spyderco Delica 4, very reminiscent of a lot of the other Spyderco series knives, the Endura, a lot of the same qualities, which we're going to go over here in a minute and talk a little bit about the value. We're going to talk a little bit about some options you can get, different types of grinds, colors, handles, you name it. But first, let's talk a little bit about the different type of uses for this knife. Number one usage for the Spyderco Delica 4 for me is the EDC blade. This is my primary EDC blade. It goes with me almost everywhere I go for a multitude of reasons that I'll talk about here in a little bit. Also, a tactical folding knife, defensive weapon. You know, God forbid, but if you had to, this definitely could do the job. It's not the largest knife, but it's large enough, in my opinion. And strong enough as well. So you got that as well. Also, if you're camping, this is a great little small camp knife, good for food preparations, things like that. Maybe splitting some really small wood, but that's probably about it as far as woodworking goes. So there you go. There are some of your philosophies of use, as it were. Let's talk a little bit about the blade. Let's talk a little bit about some of the materials. So the Spyderco Delica 4, there we go, zoom out a little bit. The Spyderco Delica 4, here's a good shot for the entire blade. So the specs. The overall length of this knife is just a shade over 7 inches. The blade length itself is almost 3. I think it says on the website 2.875 inches, something to that effect. This particular knife has got the Saber Grind. You can tell it's a Saber Grind because the grind starts about halfway down the blade, but not all the way from the very top. There are other options, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can get it in. This was my choice. I chose to get the Saber Grind because of the added strength that it gives the spine. Again, we'll bring it up here in a minute and talk about it. So there you go. There's the blade logistics. The steel for this particular knife is VG10. It's a great steel, super hard, keeps an edge pretty well, very resistant to rust. You know, I have no complaints. I've been carrying this knife for quite a while now. I have no issues. So there you go. Let's talk a little bit about the weight. Wow, this 2.5 ounces. This thing has a very, very small weight, or lightweight, excuse me. That's primarily why it's such a great EDC blade. 2.5 ounces, comparatively speaking. You have other blades out there, like the Buck Vantage Select, coming at you with like 3.8 ounces. I think this thing weighs. It's a heavy knife, and, you know, not the best for EDC just as far as weight is concerned. But you can see with this knife, 2.5 ounces, you forget you're wearing it. That's the importance of an EDC blade. You should be able to not know you have it. You start carrying a whole bunch of heavy stuff around, you're going to stop carrying it. Also, hole diameter. Spyderco makes a bunch of different types of deployment holes. I shouldn't say types, I guess sizes. You know, in Spyderco, they do the deployment hole well. They do it really well. This one, I think, is 13 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken, on the Delica. Let's talk about the handle. This is a FRN handle. It stands for fiberglass reinforced nylon. Really strong. It's also reinforced with steel liners on the inside. Let's see if I can get a shot of that. You can see right here on this one, you can see steel liners on the inside that have been skeletonized to reduce some of the weight, but still give you the added strength of having steel liners in your blade, which is great. Also, in talking about ergonomics, you know, this knife has a bunch of great features. Let's talk a little bit about the grip of the knife. What's nice is that the handle has what they call dual textured, I think is what they call it, or something to that effect. Basically, what's great about, bidirectional texturing. You can see that you have grip going this way when you grab it, and you also have grip going this way. cut into the handle. Not so sharp that it bothers you, but you know, it's great, great grip on that knife. Also, the jimping is outstanding on this Spyderco Delica. You can see it right here, so I can get to focus right there. You can really dig your thumb in there and get in those teeth. It's great. Perfect jimping. Also, when talking about ergonomics, you got to talk about the belt clip, right? Belt clips, really important with pocket knives, that you have a belt clip you like. This one's great. It's really strong, but doesn't catch the pants too much when you pull it in and out. It's also a 4-way belt clip. You can carry it tip up or tip down on the opposite end. You can also switch to the other side in either of the two locations. So depending on how you like to carry your knife, it's definitely doable with this one no matter what. I would like for it to ride a little bit lower in the pants. You can see, let me grab a scrap piece of paper here. There you go, scrap paper. This for my pant pocket. When I put it inside, you can see exactly how far, whoops, here we go, exactly how far down it goes and how much would be showing of your knife. You can actually see a piece of the blade sticking out of the end. It rides pretty low. I mean, you know, there's definitely worse knives out there. Good quality pocket clip, has a hole in it for a lanyard if you want. But, you know, all in all, very good pocket clip, nice and strong. Would like it to ride a little bit lower. Personally, you know, that's a preference thing. The only other thing that I would say about ergonomics with this knife, whoa, sorry about that. The only other thing I would say about ergonomics with this knife is that, you know, you just like the way a knife feels in your hand. Everyone has preferences. For me, this knife, it feels great in hand. It fits my hand really well. You know, all in all, fantastic. Oh, that's one thing. The locking mechanism is down the back of the blade. It's not a liner lock where it's on the inside. So what that means is you have to unlock it from the back to be able to close it. Some people don't like that because you know, the idea is that it becomes a two-handed knife to close it. Spyderco doesn't bring the blade all the way to the end here, and it leaves this part right here without a blade, without an edge, excuse me. So what's great about that is that you close it just by shaking it down. It stops right there on your finger. So you can still be closed with one hand. So just something else I like about the knife. Let's talk a little bit about options. You can get this in a variety of colors. You know, foliage green, blues, purples, I mean, you name it. It comes in all kinds of colors. Also, all kinds of grinds. You know, like I said, this is the Saber Grind. It also comes in full flat grind, excuse me. It also comes with half serrated. I think it comes in full serrated as well, if that's what you're looking for. Value. This knife comes in at, on the website, they list it at $100. That's an expensive knife. I found this one between actually $70 and $80, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But you can find them online a lot of places for about the price range that I just mentioned. You know what? It's an expensive knife, but worth every penny. Look at that blade centering. Pfft. Perfect. Perfect. This gets a lot of use. Also, it can be completely taken apart. These are all retention screws. So if you need to get in there, you need to adjust how tight you want the deployment, or you need to get in there and clean. It's all doable, which is great. So great knife for the price. Wonderful EDC blade. That's my primary role for it. You know, are there cheaper knives out there? Absolutely. But if you're gonna spend a little money on a knife, I definitely recommend checking out Spyderco, checking out the Delica 4. Outstanding blade. Outstanding.